Hey everyone, and welcome back to Slowpoke Racing and to the awesome Ultimate Racing League for our Saturday Championship. This is race 3 of 3. If you've not watched races 1 and 2, then go and check them out. Some fantastic racing we've had so far. 2 winners, Fitzy taking the win in race 1 with Rufus taking the win in race 2, and starting in pole position. It looks ready for race 3, so we'll have a quick look down the grid, shall we? And see where they all are. Rufus standing on pole position with Unforgiven. Fantastic second race for him. He's sitting second on the grid with Stormfly third. Fitzy is fourth. Silly Shot is fifth. Derg is sixth. Smith is seventh. Fazer is eighth. Brian the Mechanic ninth. Brian Moncani is in 10th. 11th on the grid is Pete. 12th is Stealth. Grasshopper is 13th on the grid with Hawkeye 14th and Sid the Sloth in 15th. So let's get these guys underway. We are at Dragon Trail Seaside. We are on the clockwise track. 3.2 miles, 17 turns. Great flowing track with, of course, the chicane of death, which has caught quite a few of the drivers out over the course of the previous 2 races. But we're underway now as Rufus takes us through turn 1, heading up to the first of the 2 chicanes on this track. Let's just make sure everybody gets through here. Okay, it looks like we have, as Stealth and Grasshopper go side by side up towards turn 5. Brian the Mechanic, he's in there, Peter's in there. Everybody bunched up through the opening few turns. Bit of dirt being kicked up there by Hawkeye as he's jostling for a position. Everybody's now just slotting in behind everybody else. So Rufus, it looks like he's still out in front. Well, I don't know, the cameraman's looking at there, but Rufus in front as they go down the hill towards turn 12. He's got Unforgiven on the inside, Unforgiven on the attack early. Stormfly fancies a bit of this as well, and as Rufus goes very wide into turn 12, tries to get back onto the track, cuts straight across Derg, but they are all still going. Stormfly, though, has managed to get himself into the lead. Now, what happened to Unforgiven? Because he was, I'm going to go back and have a look at this, because Unforgiven, he made the initial challenge on Rufus. He got himself in a great position into turn 1. Rufus went wide. I don't think Unforgiven could slow down enough. He slowed down, he thought that he'd done something to Rufus. That allowed Stormfly and Fitzy through. Silly Shot goes through. So that's what happened to Unforgiven. I think he may have thought that he caused the bump there with Rufus. So after the initial attack, Unforgiven finds himself down in 8th and under attack from Brian Moncani. Wow, the opening few laps has really proven to be eventful as Stormfly now takes up the lead with Fitzy chasing him down. Silly Shot in 3rd. There your top 3. Rufus up into 4th again. He was leading, wasn't he, at the beginning of this race, but had that bit of an issue at turn 12. But can he get himself back up there onto the podium? Smith has moved up into 5th with Derg 6th, Fazer 7th, Brian Moncani, then Unforgiven, Pete, Sid the Sloth, Brian the Mechanic, Hawkeye, Grasshopper and Stealth. Well, it's all been kicking off, and I'm sorry if we've missed some of it. Obviously Grasshopper and Stealth have had a bit of an issue to find themselves all the way down at the back. Grasshopper really not got into any of these races, the previous 2 races anyway, and maybe the NSX is just not suited to this Dragon Trail track. He is putting a bit of pressure on Hawkeye though as we go through turn 7, 8 and then 9. We wave to the crowd through turn 9 and 10, then it's up the hill towards turn 11, and then we start on down the hill again. We see Unforgiven's boat just in the water there, not the big one, obviously that's a cruise ship, it's the one just in front of the cruise ship, and that's Unforgiven's. Derg's got a yacht there somewhere in the marina as well, although you can't see it with all the billboards. So let's just go back up to our race leader, and he's coming under a big attack from Fitzy across the start finish line on the home straight. Fitzy gets himself on the inside then as they approach the first of the chicanes, and Fitzy goes through. Stormfly just backs out at the very last minute and gives that place up to Fitzy. Fantastic racing from Fitzy. Not much Stormfly could do though. The slipstream, I forgot what it was called down the slipstream, really came into play and helped Fitzy out, but Stormfly's just going to do exactly the same thing. He's going to try and tuck underneath the rear wing of Fitzy. Stay with him. Let's jump on board with Stormfly, shall we, as we go through the S section of this track before starting on down towards turn 12 and into the chicane of death as we go now down the hill towards turn 12. We have a look behind us. We've got Smith. Smith has made his way up into P3 at the minute. Now, could he be challenging Stormfly? He is. Does look like he's getting closer. Stormfly in the McLaren, I mean, it's a great all-round car, but not the quickest. And I think if Smith can get his act together, he can be onto the back of Stormfly within maybe half a lap. We shall see. Fitzy though still in P1. Smith, as I've mentioned, in third. He's in the GTI, and you can see he's getting closer and closer to Stormfly. Stormfly trying to stay in the slipstream of Fitzy, just up ahead of him, and I think if Smith can get into the slipstream of Stormfly, then he could possibly be looking at taking P2 away. Derg in P4, and I'm sure that's not his normal livery, because there's not enough stickers on that car to be Derg's. He's normally plastered in stickers. It looks like them cartoon suitcases that's travelled the world. But looking quite plain and ordinary really for Derg is the livery on his GTR. Having a good race though in fourth. Ruthless in there in fifth. Remember he started on pole and then got caught up in it all at the bottom at turn 12, but he's in there in fifth. Silly shot 6. Unforgiven has now made his way up into 7th. He's going to have a good recovery race, isn't he, if he wants to get himself back up onto the podium. Phaser in 8th with Pete just behind him in 9th. Then we've got Bry the Mechanic in 10th. Grasshopper 11th. With Bry the Mechanic just sitting in behind him now. Then White. Oh, Phaser. Oh, let's just see what's happened to Phaser. And it's the chicane of death again, claiming another victim. And it's always on the exit. There, we just caught that left rear quarter, and that's threw him against the barriers. And unfortunately for Phaser, that's cost him, well, quite a few spaces, hasn't it? Down to 12th, and is Sid going to get by as well? I think he will. Sid's got the momentum as he carries into turn 17. So a big hit for Phaser. Now it does look like the barrier collision is turned off, because there doesn't seem to be much damage after the cars have slammed into these barriers. It's not a bad thing. As we go back up to our race leader Fitzy, quite a few car lengths actually, gap back to Stormfly, but as we said earlier, Smith has caught right up to the back of Stormfly now, and Smith is just going to sit there in the slipstream, maybe picking his moment. I think Smith has already got it in his mind when he wants to make a move on Stormfly. He's just trying to get as close as he can now. Unless Stormfly gives him opportunity, I think Smith will either make his move after the exit of the chicane of death, just before they get to turn 17, or he's going to wait until they get onto the main straight. and it looks like he's going to have to wait. He just lost a little bit of momentum through there, so he's got it all to do again. He's got to catch up again. He may not be close enough to Stormfly to get it done this time. As we go onto the straight, 653 metres this straight from the exit of turn 17 down to the entry of turn 1. And although Smith, I think he may have been in the slipstream, it's not going to enable him to get as close as he'd like to get, so he's got another lap of following Stormfly. Derg sitting there and thought, oh, gets it a bit wrong on the exit of that chicane, but fantastic car control to get it back on track. Just managed to catch it and keep going, so Derg not lost any track position. Rufus may have been allowed to gain a tenth or two on him, but that could have been a lot worse for Derg. Rufus would have seen that as well, and maybe given him a little bit of encouragement to push on. Silly shot now down in 6. He's a bit on his own really. Well, I say he's on his own. He's got Unforgiven behind him, but he's not really under any pressure at the minute. We're just coming up to the 9.5 minute mark of this final race. So about 6 minutes, something like that to go. Pete down in 8. By the mechanic in 9th. He's having a bit of a battle with the other Brian Moncani. As Brian Moncani goes through, Brian the mechanic drops to 10th. Brian Moncani moves up to 9th in the Porsche. And well, he's pulling away from Brian the mechanic, isn't he? Into the final turn they go, with Grasshopper in 11th. Fazer keeping up with Grasshopper in 12th, with Stealth and Hawkeye, and Sid the Sloth in 13, 14 and 15. Sid the Sloth now pulls to the inside. He's going to have a look at taking that position away from Hawkeye as they go into turn 17, but Hawkeye positioning himself back on the inside and regains 14th. Sid just went a little bit too deep into that final turn, which has allowed Hawkeye back through, but Sid now tucks right underneath Hawkeye. Has a look up the inside. Where's the cameraman gone? There we go. As Sid gets himself on the inside, back up into 14th as they head towards the first of the chicanes. Can they get it slowed down and get through here? Yes, they can. Good racing from the two of them. Oh, it's Brian the mechanic. I saw the yellow flag, and Brian the mechanic, who was in 12th, maybe had a little issue before. I think he's been struggling all night in that Lamborghini, and again, it's put in another complaint and come round on him. Traction's on. I was going to say maybe he needs to turn the traction on, but it is on. There's something definitely not right with Brian the mechanic. He is a lot quicker than this, and just seems to be struggling. Maybe it's the track, maybe it's the car, who knows. Hawkeye's managed to get away from Sid, so Sid may have had a bit of an issue as well, but Hawkeye's managed to get by. So back up to the top then, Fitzy looking comfortable again for his second win of the evening. Bit of a gap back to Stormfly in second, with Smith still in third. I thought he might have got a little bit closer to Stormfly, as we're now approaching 12 minutes of this third 15-minute race. So we jump on board, shall we, with Smith for a few turns as we go through turn 5, then into turn 6, this sharp, almost hairpin turn, and then we start down the hill through turn 7, wave to the crowd on the right, into turn 8, then immediately into turn 9. It's almost like an S section of the track, through turn 10, still climbing, and then turn 11, we start on down the hill again, into turn 12, the second of the tight right-handers, on this track, which then leads us up towards the chicane of death, turns 13, 14, 15 and 16, and it's 15 and 16 that seem to catch everybody out. Both Stormfly and Smith though make it look easy. Through the short tunnel up towards turn 17, which is the final turn before getting back onto the start finish straight, and we have a 653 metre run down towards the entry of turn 1. So Smith getting in the slipstream of Stormfly, but not close enough to make a move before they get to the first of the chicanes at turns 2 and 3. Again, you've got to be careful on the exit. You do not want to take too much curb on the right hand side, it will spin the car around, and then too much on the left and you'll be on the grass. So Smith now getting right up the smelly end of Stormfly's McLaren, but with about a minute and a half to go, he may have left it too late. We'll go down the grid, shall we, as we see Derg in 4th, under no pressure whatsoever for Derg. Rufus in 5th, he is coming under a bit of pressure from Silly Shot. And it looks like the two BMWs are going to be fighting it out for P5 as Silly Shot has a look up the inside of Rufus down towards turn 12, and Silly Shot on the inside taking the tighter line, Rufus taking the normal line all the way through. It's all about the exit for these two as Silly Shot gets ahead of Rufus, and he is the first one into the chicane, which is exactly where he wanted to be. Rufus just trying to put the pressure on though, trying to force a mistake out of Silly Shot. Oh, as Rufus cocks a leg on the exit, but manages to get away with it. Through the tunnel up to turn 17 they go, and Rufus is now just going to have to sit and follow Silly Shot around for the next lap. This could be their final lap. In fact, it will be their final lap. Unforgiven down in 7th, Pete in 8th, Brian Moncani 9th, Grasshopper somewhere in 10th, with Phaser in 11th, Stealth down in 12th, Hawkeye, Brian the Mechanic and Sid down in 15th. So back up to the top. Oh well, there we go, some of the guys have finished. Silly Shots finished, Rufus is 6th, Unforgiven 7th, Pete 8th, Brian Mechanic 9th, Grasshopper 10th, Phaser 11th, Stealth will be 12th, Hawkeye 13th, Wright is going to cross the line in 14th with Sid in 15th. I was going to concentrate on the guys up at the front. Fitzy is completing another lap then, and well, he looks very comfortable, doesn't he? Stormfly likewise looking very comfortable now. Oh, what was the yellow flag all about? Oh, it's Sid the Sloth. So Stormfly's in 2nd, Derg is 3rd. What's happened to Smith? Oh no, oh no, it was at turn 5, was it? Let's just see, it was too much curb, on the right hand side, and that's just completely lifted the car off the track, and of course when you're in the air you can't steer or brake or do anything, and that's just threw the car across the track. Dirk's gone through, so he'll be pretty pleased with that. Let me just go forward a little bit to try and catch up where we were. So back up to the race leader and soon to be winner of his 2nd race of the evening and race 3. It's Fitzy. Well done to Fitzy, some fantastic points for him. Stormfly across the line in 2nd, with Derg gifted a spot on the podium by Agent Smith, who crosses the line in 4th, closely followed by Sid, who's actually finished in 15th. So that was all 3 races. Wow, fantastic racing for the Saturday Championship. Please join me next week if you've enjoyed these races. If you wouldn't mind subscribing and hitting that like button, I would very much appreciate it, and I shall catch you all very shortly.